But
All
that's
right,
a
Sophie,
factor also that people
Sophie,
need to consider.
let's take it in from you. We're looking at a political situation that has arisen from fuel prices that have gone higher. And there's some political undertones that come into play. How did you assess the situation coming in from this week?
Thank you again for having me. I would like to first of all say that it is sad that our country runs on fuel, and we have a regime that is particularly not interested in considering the fact that the economy of this nation runs on that. And that is why they were comfortable allowing 2 days of total shutdown, courtesy of lack of movement for Kenyans. And what I interpret this as, in comparison to Alionia, is fuel, like you have said, is determined by taxes and the state of our infrastructure. And the levies that are placed on our fuel are quite high, because when this government came into office, there was a fuel subsidy program which they conveniently eliminated, and they also conveniently rose the road maintenance levy from 18 shillings to 25 shillings, which is a rise of 7 shillings. Then they went ahead to securitize the 7 shillings to pay pending bills. They took a loan of 175 billion on the 7 shillings, and they use it to pay pending bills to contractors on the road, and they go again to conform to IMF rules that say that there has to be VAT on fuel, which rose from 8% to 16%. So if you take these factors into consideration, you have the people telling the government that we really cannot afford a raise of 46 shillings on diesel, because diesel is practically what affects our factors of production. Goods are transported, labor is transported. So and manufacturers actually depend on diesel for this. So what is the consequence of this? It is a rise in the cost of living to the common mwananchi. So the way I'm looking at it is this government is between a rock and a hard place, because it's either they please the people and they let down the puppet masters, or they please the puppet masters and they anger the people. And at this point, the government has chosen to please the puppet masters by raising the cost of fuel. And the president said that we shall have 3 months of relief when he brought down the 16% to the 8%. And then mid this month, we hear a hike of 46 shillings. There is also a factor to consider that the International Energy Agency has flagged down Kenya as one of the countries that is doing the least to conserve their fuel and their energy. We have countries like Tanzania who are telling their government employees that they will now have to carpool using a bus to go to work. We have countries like Mozambique and Senegal that are giving people work from home and school, reduced school going schedules for the children so as to reduce the amount of fuel that they're using. But in Kenya, we have a deputy president who is using 8 million on flights on a daily basis, and he comes out and tells us bei ya mafuta haiwezi shuka. We have a president who is traveling on a private jet. We have a CS of Interior who's coming to tell us that fuel prices and the anger in the people is courtesy of tribalism, and the fact that a Kalenjin president is in office and the next day he flies in a chopper. So we are really not taking any measures to conserve the little fuel that we have. As a matter of fact, we are using more.
I mean, Alionia, I want to look at the issue that you brought up with regard to how we consume our fuel. Granted, Kenya could have a lot of more vehicles. But if you go back to basics of law that govern this setting of price in the country, it is all enshrined in the law. You know, and you look at different levies that have been put down there, and you have VAT, you have excess duty, you have road maintenance levy, petroleum development levy, radio development levy, petroleum regulatory levy. Everything else has a price tag and a percentage that end up in determining the cost of fuel in Kenya. You compare that with Uganda,